Today we're going to be taking a look at the second generation of LEGO Castle. This was the era where the theme really found its footing, and introduced many of the beloved factions we have today. It started in 1984, 1 year after the end of the first era of sets, releasing a range of builds for both the Lion Knights and the Black Falcons for the very first time. This was the beginning of grey-colored castles, with the first wave including the King's Castle for the Lion Knights and the Knight's Castle for the Black Falcons. It was this King's Castle that provided the inspiration for the modern Lion Knight's Castle, while the Knight's Castle the Black Falcons was recreated as a Grey Castle set by LEGO, a miniaturized version complete with flags, shields, and micro figures, able to be redeemed for a time through LEGO's Insider program. The King's Castle came with a black portcullis, working drawbridge, as well as what was at the time new molded horses. The Lion Knights received their set of yellow or blue shields, while the sets in general introduced the Knights Tournament helmet with slits in the front for vision, feathers for the Knights' crests, bows and quivers, grey circular shields, padded coifs, and the use of helmets in either black or dark grey. This wave included basically anything a person could want from a medieval LEGO line, with horse-drawn carts and wagons, siege equipment, mounted knights, and grand castles and battlements. Besides the torsos with the faction printed on it, both sides also included figures with a printed cuirass, a way to depict heavily armored knights before the advent of the molded armor piece. Lion Knights would also at times feature crossed axes on their torso, the final shield brought back in the LKC. In my perspective, I see them as vassals to the Lion Knights. While these sets were definitely very simple, I find many of their builds charming. They're able to get the idea across in so few pieces, not being overly polished, but still feeling well put together. The next year in 1985 saw a second smaller wave being released, with two battle packs clearly delineating black armor for the Falcons and grey or silver for the Lion Knights. Set 6011, Black Knight's Treasure, mirrors Set 6022 Horse Cart for the Black Falcons rather than the Lion Knights. The largest set of this wave, Prison Convoy, featured a 4-horse prisoner's carriage with knight escort, holding a single villager as prisoner. The third wave in 1986 saw the release of 5 sets, 1 large, 2 medium, and 2 small. Set 6012 featured a simple crossbow cart, using spears as the ammo. Maiden's Cart featured a carriage holding a LEGO princess. 6041 Armor Shop depicted a neutral weaponsmith, touting their wares to both Lion Knights and Black Falcons. The Guarded Inn of this wave is a fan favorite, having received LEGO Idea submissions, as well as plenty of remakes on Rebrickable. The final set of the wave Black Falcon's Fortress gave the faction a second home, one that was clearly another fan favorite given all the remakes on Rebrickable. The fourth wave introduced a third faction to the world through set 6066 Camouflaged Outpost, the Forestmen, donning a mix of colorful feathers, green and brown hats, and primarily green torsos. This band of merry archers would dominate the forest, hiding in various natural nooks and crannies. Out of the 4 small builds, 2 gave the Lion Knights naval vessels, a 2-seater in the King's Oarsman, and 5 in the Viking Voyager. Since the oar piece was not invented yet, the Knights had to substitute spears as paddles. The final set of the Wave 6062 battering ram made the Falcons and Lions reverse roles from the Siege Tower set 3 years prior, with the Lion Knights instead serving as the besiegers, this time with their battering ram cart. The castle walls on this set could be connected to the earlier Black Falcon's fortress, allowing you to extend the size of the battlements. The fifth wave in 1988 changed the LEGO Castle scene once again, first with the printed horse barding and second with the introduction of a fourth faction, the Black Knights. Set 1584 Knights Challenge remade the original Castle's Knights Tournament, now with molded horse and horse barding and a joust between the Lion Knights and Black Knights. 6039 Twin Arm Launcher gave yet another siege engine for the Lion Knights, through a twin-wheeled catapult. 6054 Forestmen's Hideout was a second addition to the Forestmen's property portfolio, and was the one chosen by LEGO to be remade in a gift with purchase that came with the Lion Knights Castle in 2022. Black Monarch's Castle was the first castle for the Black Knights, using the emblematic open courtyard design of that era, but notably with black as a primary color instead of the more commonly used grey. I really like this change of pace, and I think the contrast between the Black Knights red and blue against the black background really makes the faction striking to look at. The Black Knights were also the first and only faction to receive 2 bardings at once, one red and one blue, giving even more optionality when customizing your LEGO horses. You could see a clear division of roles, where the archers of the Black Knights wore the dark grey nasal helmets with a chin strap, donning blue torsos with red legs, the foot soldiers the opposite with the red torsos and blue legs, and the mountain knights with a tournament helmet, printed cuirass, and legs and torsos that mixed all of these colors. The final set of this wave, 6103, gave us a range of figures, an early battle pack containing a villager, a lion knight, 2 black falcons, and 2 forestmen. The 6th wave in 89 was smaller, with Smuggler's Hayride as a small villager and forestman set, and Forestman's River Fortress, finally giving a castle to the forestmen, a set that was also remade through Bricklink in a set called Castle in the Forest. 7th wave released in 1990 with 5 small builds, 2 medium and 1 large. The smaller builds gave things like a boat for the Black Knights, the introduction of Black Monarch's Ghost, as well as 3 new cart designs. Knight's Stronghold was essentially the battering ram set from 2 years back but for the Black Knights, with the Black Falcon sieging the Black Knights and the ramparts being able to connect with the previous year's Black Monarch's castle. Forestman's Crossing gave us a forest mixed with an aged stronghold, along with a beautifully designed base plate to build on top of. Finally, King's Mountain Fortress gave us a second castle for the Lions, atop a raised LEGO base plate, which I feel added some nice environmental terrain features, giving the castle a unique vibe compared to all the ones that have came before. It makes the set feel a bit more realistic, and I think this remake by Cromulent Point on Reddit really drives home the point I'm trying to make. I understand that some people dislike these base plates for the lack of customizability as opposed to plain LEGO bricks, but I like the idea they were going after regardless. Finally, we have the 2 final sets of this era. 1991 came with a single set, giving us King's Catapult, a small build with a single lionette figure. And 1992 gave us the 8th and final release of the era, with 8 sets in total. Firstly, it gave us a 5th faction, the Wolfpack, releasing 2 of the 3 only Wolfpack sets ever through this wave, through Wolfpack Renegade and Wolfpack Tower, with the Renegade set giving us a unique cart build with hidden treasure feature, while the Tower featured a riverside settlement that serves as a base for the Wolfpack. Dual Defender gives the Black Knight siege equipment through a newer design of Dual Catapult. Sets Treasure Cart and Black Knight are nice army patterns with small builds on the side, with 6009 Black Knight being referenced in the medieval town square. Black Knight's Guard Shack is basically a Black Knight's version of the Black Falcon's Castle Guard set. 605 Sea Serpent is another beloved release, set to receive a remake by LEGO through a gift with purchase sometime in 2026. It's the first large naval vessel of the Castle line, with us having only received smaller craft before this. Finally, Black Knight's Castle is the perfect way to round off this era and wave, giving the Black Knights this time a second castle using the raised base plate, complete with their iconic black bricks, new long shields, and printed 6x5 flag. As we complete our deep dive into the second era of LEGO Castle, I want to note the prevalence of alternate builds in many of these sets. From small sets to the very large, LEGO made sure to put in the extra effort to design alternate builds that you can make from the same set of pieces. And I think this feature is extremely valuable for LEGO, a modular toy rooted in creativity, with much of the magic of LEGO coming from its ability to be modified, to be broken down and rebuilt once again. And I understand that today, this feature is largely siloed off to the Creator 3-in-1 line, and the standards for finishing touches on a set today are much higher, making the production of alternate builds for sets arguably much more challenging, since so many pieces are so specific in function. So this concludes the second era of LEGO Castle. Through this, we saw the origins of many of the remastered sets LEGO has been releasing in the 2020s, as well as the origins of 5 core factions of the LEGO Castle line. Next time we'll be looking through the waves that transitioned Castle into something more akin to low fantasy, with dragons, wizards, and vampires. We'll be seeing the new factions rise and take the place of the old. Hope you stay tuned, and if you're enjoying this series, consider following my channel. Thanks so much for watching, and happy building.